Hello guys, today I'm going to do a review on my new watch. It's the San Martin version 3 Water Ghost, and it's Rolex Submariner Homage watch. Just got it off eBay for about £120, but you can get these off AliExpress for about 150, and in general it's a very nice watch, Just to give you a little bit of history, in 2002 or 2004, I can't quite remember now, I used to have a real Rolex Submariner Date, and back in those days it cost me £2,000, which I thought was quite a good deal. I bought it directly in Switzerland, in Zermatt, which is a ski town. And then you know how collectors always buy and sell watches, so I sold that. Much to my regret. I wish I kept that original one that I had all the way back then. But I sold that, and then a few years passed and I tried different watches, and I eventually came back to it in 2015. This time I bought a second-hand one from eBay, and that cost me $4,500 with a little bit of negotiation. I think the Cyclops had a little bit of a scratch on it, yeah, or a little scuff actually. So I got off, you know, £100 or £200 off that. But in 2015, it was worth about 4.5, 5 easy. And then come to, when was it? When did I sell that now? I sold that 2017 or 2018, I think. I sold that for $6,000 at current prices now. 2021, I think Rolex are selling the Rolex Submariner Date for around about $8,000 or even $8,500. That's if you can get it. So most people, you know, go on eBay and get a second-hand one, maybe a few years younger. But you know, it's always such a popular model. Anyway, so without further ado, let's do the first test I wanted to get over and done with first, so that I can dry the watch, is to put it into water. So I actually wore this in the shower tonight, which is absolutely fine. It's still ticking away great. So what I'm going to do is put it into a glass of water. Why? Well, I set up the camera in front of me so that I can put the macro lens on and we can have a closer look at the watch. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm going to bring this camera over to the table. Get my chair around here. Okay. Alright, so let's pull this tripod a little bit higher. I might edit this out a bit later, but I thought I'd just do this in real time for now. Okay. All right. Okay. So if I bring this forward, this is going to be my inspection pad. Bring down the tripod here, try and angle it a little bit better. I think that's pretty good. And let's lock off the tripod. Okay. All right. So let's start our review of this. Got my little notes here as well. Okay. So there are quite a few homage watches on the market at the moment. I don't know whether you can see that. Hopefully it hasn't stopped ticking. Can you see that? Let's bring it up to the camera a little bit more. Okay, second hand going around nicely. And because this is an homage watch, and because this is San Martin, which is a company in itself, and not just a knockoff copy or a fake, the company itself actually guarantee these watches to 200 meters. So that's quite nice actually. So that, you know that if you spend about £100 or £150, you're not actually buying a piece of junk, and actually it works just like any other watch that you'd buy for 100 or 150 pounds, like a Seiko or something. So that's quite nice. Okay, so we can see that it's waterproof, well, water resistant, and that is because it's made to quite exacting measures. I think it's 316L steel. Rolex uses something 900 or whatever, but you know, this is pretty heavyweight, pretty good, and this has got a screw down crown to help with the water resistance. Okay, so we'll take it out of the water here. Let me just dry that off with a towel. Just bear with me just a few seconds to dry it off with a towel, and then we'll carry on our inspection of it. I really am quite pleased with it actually. It feels good on the wrist, apart from one edge actually. And this one edge is just one of very few bad points about the watch. So can you see this edge here? On the same side as the crown. This is quite sharp here. And I was joking with my brother that to get some of the knife edge sharpness off this edge, I could probably carve some wood or maybe a stick just to get some of this sharp edge off. But actually when it's on the wrist, because this back bit actually sits on your wrist, and I'll just put it on just to show you, because it sits on your wrist and it's high in the wrist. Hang on a sec, how can I show this? So it's kind of lifted off your wrist. This edge doesn't actually touch your skin, and it's all right as long as you don't keep the bracelet very tight against your wrist, and it's perfectly fine. Okay, right, let me just grab my macro lens here, and this is a very nice lens if you're looking for an iPhone lens. It's made by this company that's gone bust sadly now, called Limuro, and it was on Dragon's Den actually, that business program. And this lens is the macro lens actually. So this screws onto a special case that I've got for my iPhone XS. So it just screws directly onto my case. We can get this on properly. A little bit awkward at this angle. In a second. Okay. Oh, no. It's just cross-threaded. Give me a second, just bear with me. Come on. Okay, that's it. Right, so this macro lens is 10 times or 25 millimeters. And let's take a look close up. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a ceramic bezel. It's beautiful. Let's bring this light across here a bit closer. I'm doing this review at night, so it's probably better if I did this during daylight, but let's do my best here. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of water still on it, but this is a beautiful ceramic bezel actually. You see a close up there. As we go round, you got the hour markers and the loom. We'll do a loom test in a second as well. And you see the minute hand going around there. It really is really nice. So the chapter ring, that silver bit underneath the crystal and going around the dial, the silver chapter ring. So on a real Rolex that would be engraved with Rolex all the way around, repeated around the chapter ring. So very nice hands. You can see this is the version 3. You can tell because you got this hexagonal San Martin logo. And you got the automatic movement, the sweeping hand that goes round, as opposed to a quartz movement which is powered by battery. It's 200 meter rated water resistant. Okay, again, as the light catches the coin edge bezel, you can see the beautiful colors reflecting off the ceramic bezel insert. Okay, so supposedly this is scratch proof. I haven't tested it, but you know, on my original 2015 Rolex, it had this ceramic bezel and it was scratch proof. Okay, so the Cyclops and the crystal are both made of sapphire crystal, which is quite expensive, but it's nice that they include that Saint Martin include it on this 100 to 150 pound watch. So the version 3 I managed to get for 120, but it is advertised on AliExpress and sometimes on eBay, which is where I bought this version for around about 150. Okay, so it's about $200 US. So this Cyclops, I find this really nice. Some people complain about it. Sorry about the water. It's still drying at the moment. Let me just try and wipe that off. Okay, I find this Cyclops pretty good, and that was my favorite part of this model of Rolex Submariner, which is, what is it? The 40mm model 116610LN. I think all these homage watches are, you know, sort of emulating. And as I said, is currently priced at 8,000. So these homage watches are pretty good value for money. Okay, so let's show you and also listen out for the sound of the ceramic wheel, the ceramic bezel as it goes around. So it's actually got 120 clicks. The cheaper watches have only got about 60 clicks. And it hasn't got much back play here. Okay, it only goes in one direction, anti-clockwise, which is what it's supposed to do. And you can tell how good a watch copy or homage is by how much back play and how stiff this ring is. And this is a very, very close replica of the real thing. So this is quite nice. The loom here at the top is not level, it slightly protrudes, but not too much. And while we're at it, while we're looking at the dial, let's do a little loom test. So where's my torch light? Hold on a second. Let me get my torch and let's just shine some light onto it. Let's just charge up the loom a little bit. I'm using this LED torch XML T6, which is using a Cree LED on it, which is quite bright, just to charge it up. Okay, let's just turn off the light. And let's just turn off the light behind me as well. Okay, let's just bring this up to the macro lens, and you can see it's pretty bright. It's lovely luminescence coming off the looms on these hands and the dial. I have got a backlight, so let's turn that off as well so you can see how it performs in pitch black here. So it's pitch black now in my bedroom, and it's just phenomenal, as you can see. It's beautiful. Really happy with that. So I'm not really sure how other homage watch brands perform, but I have watched some other YouTube videos, and it seems like, you know, this is up with the higher end homage watches out there. Okay. Right, let's turn the lights back on and let's just carry on with our review. Haven't really got that much negative to say about this watch. I'm very, very happy with it, especially it's very, value for money actually. So let's zoom into the dial again. Beautiful. So happy with that. The bracelet is beautiful. It's very lovely solid steel. You can see all the end links are all solid. And when I adjusted it tonight, I got the watch off eBay from the seller just last night, so I've adjusted it for my wrist, and you can see all the end links are solid here. And it's got very nice screws actually. So often with these cheaper watches or copied watches, the screws don't really work very well, but these are super smooth when you take the links out, and you know, you can tell that it's made to a very, very high standard. Okay, so one thing that is not like the original Rolex Submariner is the clasp. Okay, so the clasp, okay, let's just take it off. Let me just show you the things that I need magnified, and then we'll go back to looking at the watch in general. Okay, so let's skip round to the crown. I love this crown because you see this shark logo. You see this logo? Love this shark logo on the crown. You can see it's got a nice grip for adjusting it. It's just been in the water, so I won't unwind it to adjust it, but just trust me that it's super smooth when you pull it out to adjust the date and the time. Okay, so going around the rest of the watch, you can see the lugs here. Everything is precision manufactured. As I said, I would have loved it if this edge was rounded off a little bit more, because it is a bit sharp on this side. On the other side it's fine. It's not so sharp for some reason. So maybe it's just this one that wasn't finished properly. Maybe the guy working on this watch forgot to round off, you know, the other edge, because this side is absolutely fine. Okay, let's see if I can get into the back of the watch. The back of the watch is unmarked. Nothing special about it. Just coin edge back that screws off. And then this is the clasp. So it has the safety clasp that goes over with San Martin stamp on it. And then kind of like, actually I think this is more like a Tag Heuer. And then you press these release buttons either side, and you open the clasp like this. Okay, going around the edge of the watch, it doesn't have a glide lock system for, you know, making that extra 1 or 2 inches if you're wearing a wetsuit and you need the watch to dive. All it has is this kind of old system actually for adjusting the bracelet a few millimeters at a time. So that is, I wouldn't say it's a negative, but it's less accurate and less of a copy than the original Rolex one. But you know, I'm fine with it. I'm not a diver, so I don't really need that dive suit extension link. All right, so let me take the macro lens off, because they keep on, unless you keep the watch very close to the lens, it keeps on blurring, because the macro lens is designed only to magnify things at 10 times. So far away it won't really focus. So let's put that Limura lens away. And oh, before I forget, let me show you the box. This is the box it comes in. Very neat, very tidy, quite sturdy, not quite as hard as a Pelly case, but not bad nonetheless. So I think you tie a bit of string there if you want to float this box in the ocean or something. So 4 secure tabs. It comes in with this foam insert, keep the watch nice and safe. The watch goes in like that. It goes in like that. Because I bought this off an eBay seller, it didn't come with everything that it's supposed to come with. I think this is supposed to come with an instruction booklet, which I've got here. That's quite nice. It's an instruction booklet with how to set the settings, how much water resistance there is, different languages, so Chinese, English, nota bene, which is Italian, I think. Well, there's no Italian actually. I don't know why they say nota bene. Maybe there's another manual. Okay, warranty, I think it's a year. So actually you have a warranty card here. Don't know what that's for, maybe to protect the back or something. So it's stamped by St. Martin here. Didn't have a date of purchase here. I don't know what happened there. Probably because I bought it from somebody on eBay. So that's quite a nice touch. Don't know how much that holds if there is something wrong with it and you have to send it back to China. But these are the extra links that I took out, and it's beautiful. It's not stiff at all. It works beautifully smooth, unoiled, but these pins screw out beautifully nice, very smooth. Very happy with that. Heavyweight still, very good quality. Okay, so let's put that back, put that aside. Oh, little tag. I guess that must have been on the watch originally. It's been cut off. sanmartin.aliexpress.com. Yeah, so as I was watching other reviews, this new logo, which is on the version 3, so as far as I'm concerned, the differences between version 1 and version 2 is version 1 had a crappy clasp on it, so they improved that. And then on version 2, the shock that was on the crown, that disappeared off the version 2, and then on the version 3 the shock reappeared on the crown again. And then on the version 1 and version 2, it just had St. Martin, this logo, just the lettering across the dial. And then on the version 3, you suddenly get this hexagonal St. Martin logo, which I think is quite cool actually. I'm not sure what era that comes from, but it looks like Art Deco. Not sure whether I got that the right period, but yeah, I quite like it. So I think most people either love it or hate it, but I like it. Another criticism was they don't really have this kind of continuity between the logos. So with Rolex, you've got the Rolex crown up here and the Rolex lettering, and then on the crown, sorry, did I say crown just now? On the dial, sorry. So Rolex have the crown on the dial, and then they have it on the crown, and then on the back it's blank, just like that. But then on the clasp, on this bit, the safety lever or clasp or whatever you call it, you have another crown here. So it's kind of continuous. So the criticism with St. Martin on their models is they've got a hexagonal logo here, they've got a shark here, and then they've got the lettering here, so it's not continuous. So in my mind, I think they either should have gone with the hexagonal logo here, hexagonal logo here, and hexagonal logo here, or the writing there, it looks fine. Or they should have gone for the shark there, the shark there, and the shark there. But, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. But, you know, I would have been fine with anything, actually. And I'm quite happy with this watch, and it doesn't really annoy me. I'm not that OCD or anal. I quite like this logo. I like the shark, and I like the writing as well. So actually I have one of each. So maybe the designers thought, yeah, have one of each, and that's the way that we want to design it. Okay, so what else should I say about this watch? I'm just going to hold this static for a second so you can watch the second hand go round while I tell you a little bit more about my decision. As I said, there were quite a few examples of homage watches, and at the top end of the scale was the Gino I think it's called, I think it's pronounced like that, Juno Ocean Rover. It was about £1,000, and that was top of the line with a Swiss movement, and it really was a nice model. Well, you know, I've never handled it in real life, but it looked really nice in the videos. But, you know, who's going to pay £1,000? Very few of us is going to pay £1,000 for a non-Rolex watch, you know, even though it's quite close to the original. I mean, you might be desperate for a Rolex and you don't have £8,000 to buy a real Rolex, but then, you know, you can get a used one with quite a few years on it, but, you know, in immaculate condition for £4,000 or £5,000. So there's no reason why you should spend £1,000 on something that's not a Rolex. Although, you know, it depends on what type of person you are, and the Juno is a Swiss movement, and it's a very, very nice brand in itself. So then underneath that, I almost went for this because I saw it for £400 on eBay. The next one down underneath the Juno was a Davosa Turnos, Davosa, Davosa Turnos, which also had a Swiss movement, and they go for around about £500 or £600 on AliExpress or eBay. And that was almost identical to the original Rolex Submariner. And yeah, in the end, I thought that I really can't justify spending £400 on a watch right now during lockdown 3 in the UK. So then I looked at 2 or 3 other different versions. So one step down from that was the Steinhardt Ocean 1. The Steinhardt Ocean 1, which goes for around about £400 or £500 and has an ETA Swiss movement. There's something that I didn't really like about this Steinhardt, even though it is, you know, made really well and it's a beautiful watch. I looked on eBay and you could buy one for around about £350, £400. And again, I think probably in the end it was a sticking point was the price. I was thinking, okay, I want a cheap watch, a reliable watch, and if I can get something for £150, then why should I pay £300 or £400 for it? You know, and in the end, you know, when I got this, 120, which is good enough, and it's water resistant, you know, quite clumsy, and it's quite heavyweight, and I'll take a knock or two. Why go for anything more expensive when I don't have to? You know, I've had the real thing, and this compares to it pretty well, actually. It's not like a fake that you'd buy in Bangkok or Hong Kong about 25-30 years ago. They've come a long way since then, and all these watches are made in China to exacting standards, and you know, they're water resistant, so it's really nice. So then one step down from that was the St. Martin, and also considered another brand called Phoibos, Phoibos, and I think the model number was PX007, as in 007. And I almost went for that over the San Martin, because instead of the logo here, you had a little octopus here, Octopus King. It had a octopus with a crown on it, and that was pretty cool. And then you had the octopus logo on the crown. Sorry, I keep saying crown when I meant dial. So it had the octopus on the dial and an octopus on the crown, and also had an octopus on the back as well, which is really cool. And I can't remember whether it's got a octopus on the clasp as well, but that's quite continuous. So I almost went for that, but in the end I saw this on eBay, and at that time, with a day to go, it was at £80. And then when it came to it, the last 5 minutes, I thought, okay, I can't find any on AliExpress. Even if I did find one on AliExpress, it's about £150. And now anything that you buy from America or abroad, the UK tends to charge you VAT, value added tax, and a customs charge, and also a handling charge for British Royal Mail. So if you add all that together, and I was unlucky enough for the watch to get opened at customs, they would have hit me with all the taxes and handling charge, and I would have paid in excess of about £180. So I thought, okay, let's put in a maximum of £160, and luckily no one else wanted to bid that much, and I won the auction at 123, I think it was, plus postage of £7 or £8, which is quite reasonable, and I'm quite happy with that price for this watch. So then underneath that, I also considered the Pagani Design Explorer, which was a beautiful watch as well, and I think they're on their second version as well. This is the version 3 actually, so it's already gone through 3 iterations. But the Pagani Design Explorer is around about £70 or £80 on AliExpress. But from the other reviews I've seen on YouTube, one thing that would really bother me is the bezel. They said that the bezel, they have 2 different versions. So the bezel, this bezel has 180 clicks, right? So if you have 60 seconds, you got 2 clicks per second. So it's quite accurate. And when you bring this up to the 12 marker, should align exactly, yeah? With the Pagani design, they were saying that it doesn't really align, and some of the versions only have 60 clicks, and I think one of the versions has 120 clicks, but the quite common issue was when you come up to 12, it doesn't align. It doesn't, you know, align with the 12 marker. So that would have annoyed me, even though I'm not very OCD, but that kind of thing is immediately apparent. But you can see this one is perfect on the San Martin, and it's beautiful, and it's just like the real thing. So if you look carefully, this ceramic dial is also embossed. These numbers, like the real thing, are slightly embossed, and if you run your fingernail over it, it does dip in a little bit. So that's a really nice attention to detail as well. So it's quite dusty from my towel. Okay, what else? So under the Pagani design, there was the most affordable homage watch, which is the Parnis Submariner, which uses a Chinese movement, which is a Miyota, and you can probably pick those up for 40 or 50 bucks, or 40-50 pounds off eBay or AliExpress. And I think those are a quartz movement, if I'm correct. So I really didn't fancy that. I like the sweeping hand of sweeping second hand of these automatic models. I think it's a lot more professional, and it's a lot more like the original. And then lastly was the Invicta 89260B or OB Pro Diver, which is around about £100. But with the Invicta, which is a good watch in itself, had Invicta emblazoned in the side, which I really don't like. And you can see all sorts of people on YouTube trying to file off that Invicta embossing. So in the end, why buy a watch that you have to modify so much? I just couldn't be dealing with that, and it just seems like a waste of time. And there weren't enough things about the Invicta that I liked to have to put up with, you know, having to modify that. It did have a nice see-through back though, the Invicta one, just to give it credit where credit is due. Had a see-through black back, and even though I think it used a Seiko movement, which this does, the rotor, the part that spins around and charges the watch and makes it automatic, you know, so when you're wearing the watch and the little movement, the rotor goes round and round and charges the watch and keeps it ticking. They kind of modified that and had Invicta on it, and it was a yellow color, so that was quite nice. So that was the main thing going for the Invicta, but it wasn't enough to make me change my mind about it. And sorry, this review is going on forever. It's like almost over. There's about 35 minutes so far. If I'm boring you, then you can definitely skip to the parts that you like. I'll try and show the watch off a little bit more. Okay, let's just open the clasp a little bit, a few more times. So you press this button and it opens, and then you close it here and that secures it. Okay, as I said, there's a few micro adjustments here, a few millimeters at a time. If it's too big, then you can take a link out. If it's too small, you have 3 extra links to put in. I have a 7-inch wrist, so I've taken 3 links out. Okay, and I think I've covered everything really. Really pleased with the watch. Let me just go through the final specs. I'm just going to put this watch down, so excuse me for going on a bit, but just in case there are people like me that they're sitting on the fence and they're wondering, you know, I need one little bit more information to make up my mind. So I'll just go over some more specs just to reinforce why I chose this model over the others. Okay, so 40.5mm diameter case. I think the Rolex is a 40mm case. Yeah, the model 116610LN, I think. So this one is 0.5mm wider, which is not a lot wider, and it's pretty accurate. The other one that I was considering was a Pagani design. That was 43mm, so that's 3mm bigger than the original. So this one's a lot closer in terms of the diameter of the case. This model is the SN. There's no markings on it, but this version 3, which you can recognize with this the hexagonal logo, remember, and it's got a shark on the side. This is the version 3, the latest one on AliExpress, if you can find it. I think they're just kind of out of stock just before Chinese New Year, which is the 12th of February this year, 2021. The model is SN017-G, so the upgraded version 3 made in 2020. Okay, it uses a Seiko NH35A movement. I'll put all these specs in the description. Has a ceramic dial. Sorry, keep on saying dial when I mean bezel and bezel when I mean dial. So ceramic bezel, 120 clicks, unidirectional, so it only goes anti-clockwise. Is 165 grams. The Loom is a BGW-9 blue light. Okay, and remember the test I did earlier in pitch black. It glows really beautifully, and I tested it last night and it lasted at least an hour before I fell asleep. Not sure how long it lasts actually, but you know, it's not bad. Water resistant to 200 meters, and then at the beginning of this test you saw it in a glass of water, and I also tested it in the shower. It seems to be fine. I'll report back if there's anything leaking tomorrow, but usually if you have a crappy watch you'll see it steam up immediately if it's not water resistant, if it's not what it says it does. It's got a good Cyclops date magnifier of 2.5. The logo, so the logo, you either love it or hate it, that hexagonal San Martin logo. That's the new version 3. The shark logo, some people may hate it, but majority of people really like it. And then the original San Martin writing, you can't really say anything about that. Or maybe you don't like this font. Okay. What else? Okay. The shark crown is a screw down crown, and it's got a little rubber gasket to keep it water resistant. That's really nice. It's probably quite dry now, so I can open and show you now. Okay, can you see there? It's got a rubber gasket there. Yeah. A rubber gasket there, just keep it waterproof. Cool. And super smooth second hand. It's got a Seiko NH35A movement. I already said that. Smooth screws, solid links. Some of the links on the cheaper watches are actually folded, so they're not solid. There's not solid steel. They're folded over, and you can see on the inside that they're folded. So that kind of saves cost. But none of that rubbish here. This is a quality watch. I've gone over the only bad part, which is this sharp edge here, which can probably be softened with a piece of wood over time. I'm just going to rub a piece of wood up and down there just to soften up that edge, without, you know, compromising the sharpness and the shininess of the polished surface. Oh yeah, and it's supposed to come with screwdrivers with the box, which it didn't come with, but I think the seller found them and he's going to send them to me in the post. So from the other reviews, they said that it's not some crappy screwdrivers, actually some brass screwdrivers, and you know, quality set of free screwdrivers that come with the watch, and you can use that to adjust the links and stuff. I've got a quite nice set of watchmaker screwdrivers, so I didn't really need that to size down this watch last night, but it's always good to have another set to have a spare set. Okay, so yeah, recommendations. So final recommendations. If I were to recommend anything to people that don't want to have a homage watch, but they still want the Submariner look of this watch, which I really love. You know, I've had plenty of watches over the years, and this is still my favorite of all the watches that I've had. Coming a close second is the 1911 Bezel watch that I just sold. That comes a close second to the Rolex Submariner as being my favorite. If I were to recommend another two watches, it would be the Longines Hydro Conquest, which is about £800 or £900, which is a nice watch, nice diving watch that is similar to the Submariner, a nice watch in itself. Or the Seiko Prospect SBD CO51, which is about £500 or £600, which again, Seiko make lovely, strong, long-lasting watches, durable watches, and they're a good watch in their own rights. But for now, this is my £120 San Martin version 3 Water Ghost homage to the Rolex Submariner Date, and I'm very, very happy with it. And I've been watching it. I've been wearing it non-stop since I got it yesterday, and yeah, look forward to wearing this for the next few years. Okay, all right. Hope you enjoyed the review, and hope that's helped you inform your decision to buy it or not buy it. Okay, take care.